I'm going to let you take the floor with this one. Frank Vogel is no longer a member of the Lakers after being relieved of his duties after 3 years. What is it, 33-49 this year with the Lakers? You know, it's a pretty terrible record. Anything that could go wrong for Los Angeles this year has gone wrong, and Frank Vogel has been the first one, if not the only one, to pay the price for it at this point. And Russell Westbrook had some thoughts on that, among other things.
Yeah, he did. So he and LeBron and I believe Vogel, well, Rob Pelinka, obviously not Vogel, Rob Pelinka and others did mention stuff at a press conference. Westbrook said he thinks it's unfortunate because he never had an issue with any of his coaches before. He said he's not sure what the issue was with him or not sure why, but he can't really give us an answer as to why the two never really connected. Now, another bombshell he dropped is that when asked, here we go. They kept on saying in the media, let Russ cook, let Russ be Russ, stuff like that. Russell Westbrook said that wasn't very genuine.
Disingenuous, yeah.
That was very, that was bombshell worthy to me. That was pretty huge. So my take on this is, I want to first say I do believe Frank Vogel should have been fired. I know they won the championship 2 years ago, but the more I've thought about this, the best coaches get the best out of people. I understand that it's all about, well, Carmelo's this and Dwight Howard's this ego and LeBron's ego. Why would there be instances where they would turn it on and then turn it off? I would be watching Lakers games where I'm like, oh my God, this team looks like they're locked in defensively. And what did they do in 2020 when they won it all? They locked in defensively. But as Rob Pelinka said, we needed a new voice. I don't understand why some coaches cannot last that long, but you don't realize Greg Popovich, even Quinn Snyder with the Jazz, Eric Spoelstra with the Heat, they find a way to keep fresh in the locker room. And that's huge in sports. Blame players, blame whoever you want. But Frank Vogel's message was obviously not very clear anymore. Or maybe there weren't enough incentives or something was going on there.
Yeah, you've got to almost wonder, and it's no disrespect to Frank Vogel. I mean, he had a good run in Indiana.
Yes, he did.
Didn't really work out in Orlando. But you've got to almost wonder if Frank Vogel was hired to stay out of the way back in the day. This is pre Russell Westbrook. But LeBron James, if we believe he has a hand in these decisions, you've got to believe he had a hand in hiring Frank Vogel. And I don't know exactly what was said, but if I could paraphrase, this is kind of one of those things. Hey, it's me and AD, and we're gonna take this thing down and just stay out of the way. And now when things didn't go well, LeBron James misses time, Anthony Davis misses time, and Frank Vogel may have to actually have input or say on this. And this may be super fabricated, but I feel like there may be a foundation where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of these teams like this that just don't want to listen to coaches. I mean, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, I understand this whole turn it on, turn it off. When's the last time Dwight Howard and Carmelo actually turned it on? Let's be honest here.
And the people want to well, Carmelo was good in Portland. Well, I mean, yeah, for some flashes.
He was a fourth option.
Nice. And then even in the bubble, Dwight Howard was nice, but he also had a lot of JaVale McGee and a lot of AD going berserk. So he didn't have to be that all the time. When you ask Dwight Howard to start at center, there's nobody to back him up besides Wendy and Gabriel. He might look worse.
To me, it's crazy to think this because it is the Los Angeles Lakers, and they are, if not one of the most decorated franchises in the NBA. So for them to really, and this may show the way that the NBA is now, for them to really bow down to players, coaches, to anybody the way they do right now really shows just how far they've fallen since Jerry Buss died.
Amen. People don't want to admit it, but people in the media, LeBron apologists have made great points. Where were the Lakers when LeBron got there? Because even Kobe's era, even when Kobe retired, rest in peace to that dude, by the way, but even when Kobe retired, it was like they were just awful.
Well, he was a shell of himself at that point. He was playing through. He was playing through ice packs.
Carry that team. Be fair.
No, of course not. But the thing is still
Mm.
LeBron still carries on the legacy. Yes, he has the title in there, and
And
say
that's
with it
about
what you
it.
say with it what you will. But the Lakers, the last 10 years, have missed the playoffs 8 times.
Yes.
So it's eight. What is it? 8 times. The two with LeBron is a championship and a first round exit, and 8 missed playoffs with all
And what
these
I say
guys.
about the Heat when it came to injuries, the injury excuse, I was very impressed how the Heat, the Grizzlies, all these teams played well through injury. Lakers just don't have a dang worth of chemistry. I don't know what it is.
You gotta wonder if it's the management in this situation because look at the Knicks. The Knicks used to be a destination, and now they're not. MSG used to be where you wanted to play, and that stuff meant something to players. And it may be a combination of management and the players nowadays just don't really care. They want to, they want to team up. Don't really
Right.
matter where it is. But we talk about the crazy thing is we talk about how these organizations have fallen, but then we'll talk about the next time Zion Williamson comes up. Well, when's he leaving New Orleans? When's he
Well, he's
going to
really
L.A.?
sad.
When's he going to L.A.? It's like, well, what is it? Which is it? Do these guys want to go to the big markets or do they not want to go to the big markets? But I've been on Russ's side this whole year.
I have too. I mean,
I mean,
I kind of fell off a little bit because they kind of convinced me, but I was right there with you.
yeah, I mean, I don't think he's played poorly. I think he had to shoulder the weight, and he's not the same player he was in Oklahoma City in a sense of trying to lead what really is just not a roster of players. I mean, come on.
They have a bunch of draft picks that come and
Between the
go. It's
old
ridiculous.
veterans and the young guys. But just think about I don't know, they obviously would not have been able to afford him, but I know I keep saying this. Just think about if Ingram and or Lonzo Ball was on this team.
Huh. Well, my problem with
This team
that
makes the
though is
playoffs, I
I
think.
always called them out because they took plays off. Like you need guys like an Austin Reeves who could actually play hard. The problem is Reeves got no minutes.
Yeah, so it circles all the way back to Frank Vogel here. Like when asked to basically coach this team, it may have been too far gone at that point. He may have
Agreed.
he may have been the coach at practice, just sitting there reading the paper. I mean, it's just I
Right.
don't know. You say let Russ cook, and I gotta think it was a decision by Frank Vogel. I mean, Rob Pelinka and the Lakers didn't acquire a $47 million salary just to let him sit the bench.
I think Westbrook. I think Vogel is so much of a defensive coach. I don't think he knew what to do with Russ offensively. I don't. I just don't. I think this team can still work. You know, LeBron said, and I'll leave it here because we got to talk about Tom Brady. LeBron James said, like, went on, like, I love Russ's energy. I love that he plays hard every single possession, which is true. So obviously, I think there's still a chance that somebody can make this work.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is maybe it's based on the coach, but what are the odds we see these three in LA next year?
I wouldn't mind it because if you could build put more like 3-and-D shooters around them, I think they could be very lethal.
But
I still
the question still remains: is are they going to stay healthy? LeBron's missed 85 games in the last 3 years. Anthony Davis is probably misses that every
AD's
year
gonna
and a
piss
half.
me off so bad with that crap too.
Russ can't carry this team again. It's gonna hurt his legacy
Mm.
if we run it back here and it's the same exact results. They can't miss the playoffs 2 years in a row with
You
these
know,
three
Russ
guys.
wanted to be a Laker too, but there was talks even before LeBron went to LA that Russ was he went
Well,
to
that's his
UCLA for
home.
crying out loud.
That's his home. He's from that
Exactly.
area. That's his home. So it would be an interesting. It is interesting to watch if they can all three be healthy for a long period. I mean, even if they're healthy for 80% of the season, they should be able to make this playoff, especially with the play-in games now.
Hey, Aaron,